What up, guys? So today's New Year's Day. So the owner of the 442, instead of me saying, hey, the owner of the 442, his name is Mike. So Mike came over this morning with his tractor. We cleared out, we added our backyard. We actually own a lot of foresty area back there. We're on like an acre of property, and half of that acre is just like trees and stuff. So he came with his tractor, gave us 20, 30 more feet of backyard. But while he was here, he's a big motor guy. So I was talking about how I wanted to take those mounts that he gave me, these ones, and I was going to bolt them into the plate so I could move it back, right? Well, he says, no, you don't have to do that. So what he said is just use the standard clamshell mounts, motor mounts, and just bolt them back onto the 305. He didn't think I had the mounts. Bolt them back on the 305 and then just push the motor back another 3.5 inches, and it'll put it just like if it was in the V6 position. So I didn't need these after all. These ones were actually the ones that actually bolted to the motor. But I didn't have any mounts that go onto the frame side mount. So what I'm going to do is I am going to swap you around and show you. So here they are. So the only issue that we have, or I have, is that I have a 1/2 inch of space between this and this mount. And he says you can make that up with a spacer. And that way it'll keep the motor from sliding forward. So now we have 3.5 more inches of clearance this way. So the pulley right here was sitting, if I go right here, was sitting like right here. So now it's sitting back another 3.5, almost 4 inches back. So I like that. So now we have a lot more room for the radiator. I may even be able to get away with a mechanical fan versus the electric fan. I don't know. But anyway, so that's where the motor is now sitting. Gives me more clearance back here with exhaust manifolds. So I'm going to run these exhaust manifolds. These he said that these manifolds are the F type. So I guess for like F body cars, like Camaro, Firebird or something. So there's enough space to go right here. He said what they usually typically do is they'll cut the ear off right here on the transmission, which I've done it on both my builds, meaning the 3100 and the GMC. So it puts it out, and right now it's sitting at 1 degree down, how this is sitting in there. And it's even inside the frame. So I had to fix a piece of fence on the back side of my garage back here. And look what I found out back. This is the transmission crossover for the S10, for this right here. So I don't have to build it. I'll probably have to modify it a little bit because now we're pushed back 3.5, 4 inches back from where it used to be. You know, like the whatever transmission was in this before. Because I think this actually was a 4-cylinder car or a 4-cylinder truck, because I had to tap out one of the holes up there for the V6 mount. But let me swap you around here. So I've got the cross member. So I may just put that in today. It is New Year's Day, so I'm off today. But I work tomorrow and Friday, not in my normal location. My boss needs me to come over and kind of help him out of a bind in the other shop that he owns. So I'm going to be going over there and painting for, I hope, just 2 days, because it's quite a travel time. But I'm also thinking maybe I'll lift this up, slide this underneath to see where my room's at, right? Because right now it's a good time to do it. So I'm thinking about doing that. So I'm going to pause you here for a second, and then I'm just going to kind of gauge what we got going on. Like, do I set the transmission down in? Because I know I could probably do that today. you know, in the little bit of time I have left? Or do I raise this up, cut some of the mounts down below that need to be cut off, and reinforce the back of the cab to the not mounting plates, but floor braces, because I'll have to cut the whole bottom part of where the gas tank was. From the previous couple videos, you saw it was all rusted out. So do I cut all that out? If I cut that out, that's actually the brace that runs along the back of the cab that way. So if I cut that out, I have a feeling that maybe that'll be kind of wonka like that. So let me just kind of take a pause here and then let's decide what I'm going to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the cross member. I kind of roughly set it up in there, so it does need to come back. So what I'm thinking of doing is cutting the ear off and putting it on the other side, right? Because this will still bolt into the right place. It's just that the mount is here instead of back here. So yeah, here instead of here. So I'm going to just kind of clean this up, get these bolts off because they're kind of rusted through a little bit. But that's what I'm going to work on right now. So let's get this cleaned up. All right, so we got to raise up the transmission. Right about now is where it's at, where it should be, like height-wise, but we're going to raise this up a little just so we can slide this in there and see what we got to do, right? Just to see. Because I know where this is supposed to go. It's actually supposed to go right there. So right there, right there. Okay, all righty. Perfect. Now I see what we got to do. So we're hitting on this backside just a little bit. So yeah. Can you see that? Okay, you can see it. Okay, so right here needs to be notched out. We'll go out to here. We'll actually just follow that right now. Like that. Like that. And then come across. So the first thing we got to do is take this out. Right here. And then down to there. Okay. This is going to work, guys. Even if I have to kind of cut this section out and weld the plate down on the bottom part to bring this back down. Yep. So let's cut this section out real quick. I think it's a good time to fire up that plasma cutter. So what we'll do is we'll plasma cut this section out. It's only welded on the outside. And then we'll cut that out right there, like that. We'll probably have to take this upper piece out. Yeah, okay, so let's fire this baby up. Now that I got her working right, put this up on blocks off the ground. So, okay, this takes a second to set up. Okay, so honestly, this probably would have been easier just for me to grab the grinder or the cutoff wheel, but I have to get better at using this. So That's why I'm using it. And I actually got glasses so I don't burn my eyes. And these glasses right here, they actually go over my regular glasses. So we'll turn this up a little bit. Fire it up. Because I'm going to use this plasma cutter quite a bit when when I get up underneath there and start cutting stuff. So always wear your safety gear with all this stuff. I mean, you should know that. All right, let's see how this goes. Plus, they look pretty cool. Yeah. Okay. So my whole thing is, I think I'll just put a plate across there for the mount to go onto. So let's take it back over. This cross member, but it still has to be all cleaned up. I'm not going to clean up every time I trim a little something. I'm not going to clean it up right until I'm done trimming it. But oh yeah, so that is now going to work. So let's put this down at where it needs to be. I think it's going to be right around in that area. 0.8. Okay. So just a little bit more. Right there. I think that's where it's going to be. I think that's where it's got to be. Oh, 1.3. It's a little too much. There. 1.2. There. So there's 1. So that, sorry. So that is 1 degree going down to the rear end. I like that. So what we'll do, 1, 2. So these ones go on this side. So now my mount, we got to put the mount, we got to get the mount, to put the mount, to weld in that bracket. Okay guys, so I had to run and go get a transmission mount. I did not have one. So that is the transmission mount for this transmission. Right there. I got the bolt right there, and then the 2 that go into the actual bottom of the transmission. These are M10s by 1.50. So let me get the mount mounted up, and then we will continue from there. Okay, so I think we got it. Obviously I'm going to have to reinforce some stuff here, but I clear the pan, got the mount set. So let's see We're at 0.1. So if I let this down just a smidgen, till it touches 1.3, and that's touching. So let me tack this in place. Yep. So now we got it tacked in. Let's reinforce this. Okay guys, so we got it welded through here. We put in a plate there and a plate right here to stiffen that up. It's hot. So this is from this. I have to clean this up. But what I have to do now is I'll have to like block this out here and then straighten out that line and then block a piece right there to strengthen this up. But as it sits, it'll probably hold the weight. So I'm probably just going to set it in there real quick. So let's see if this will work. So there's the cross member, all mocked up. Not too bad. Obviously, I got to box it in here, from here to there, and then right in there. But that, and it's sitting at 1.4 down. Alrighty guys, so we left off on the 1st, which was Wednesday. Today's Saturday morning. So what I did was I just boxed in the transmission crossover. This is 1/4 inch thick plate. Actually, let me swap you around. So what we have in here is 1/4 inch thick plate, welded all the way around there. And then we got one in there, and then I joined you know, these little pieces here. And of course, this is all welded in all across the back, both sides. I know this side doesn't look the best, but it's strong. That's what I'm going to say. And then along here, I welded this piece to the outer piece. It's like an inside piece. You can see it like right in there. But I welded that across there. And then in the back, I braced it up there and then welded it over there. So this should be plenty strong now. So I'm going to pop it back in, and then we'll go from there. I'll be right back. So that took entirely too long to modify that. I did the typical Chris thing. You know, instead of just making one from scratch, I kind of used what was here. And honestly, it probably would have been easier just to plate this, put a ledge over here, and move the whole thing back. But, well, it's done now. So we are all set. That is not going anywhere now. So let me show you a few of the goodies that we got. All right, guys. So I'm not in frame, but it doesn't matter. It's all these cool parts. So I got a dual plane intake, aluminum intake manifold. Yeah, so that's going to replace the throttle bodied one up there. And then I got an HEI distributor for a V8. Again, Amazon. And then I got the intake gaskets from Felpro for all this to put together. All right, so those are the parts that I got in. Mike will be rebuilding a 600 CFM four barrel carburetor from Holley. He has one. I got the rebuild kit, or I ordered it. It should be here hopefully sometime in the next couple days. And then I'm going to give it to him, and he's going to clean it up and put it all together. I am on the fence if I want to pop this in right now, or if I want to slide it up underneath the cab and see where we are at with the engine. So give me a minute and let me see what I'm going to do. Either swap this out or slide that underneath there. Be right back. Let's see if I can slide that underneath there. Okay, so we're going to lower the cab down a little bit so I can get a better alignment of that front. And then I'm going to check it every now and then. I'm going to look up in there when I think we're pretty close here. Okay, so what we got going on here is, so any kind of accessories over here and here, there's gonna be a problem, right? So I know this inner piece does come off, and then we're pretty close right there, not so close on that side. So I think the whole frame has to shift that way. That's what I'm thinking. The back has to be moved over. Okay. So I'm going to try to square this up, but you see how it's fitting in there? Not so bad, actually. And there's from the inside. So I'll have plenty of like room to do what I kind of want to do here. But I know I can get it down a little farther. I just have to straighten out the frame and push it over. So give me a second. This is going to be a minute. There you are. So this is going to be a minute. So just know I'll be manipulating the cab around to get that even, taking some measurements, and then we'll bring you back. I mean, you probably don't want to watch 30 minutes of me shifting around, measuring and all that, but once we get done, I'll show you what we got. Okay guys, so I raised up the cab, back up, pushed the engine back, or the whole chassis back. I got to get this piece off. So there's 7/16. The problem is that some of them are rusted through, or rusted, and I broke one off already. Hold on, let me get a hammer. Here we go. So I'm just gonna get a hammer and I'm just gonna tap the bolts through because it's starting to want to come out. There we go. Yeah. I think that's all of them. So let me get that inside piece off. I kind of had a feeling I would have to take that off anyway. Now that we got the engine setting in here, or in the chassis. There we go. What's going on over here? And there we go. Oh. So we got that part out. It needed to be repaired here anyway. Had a big old hole in it. But we'll see. So now that that's out of the way, let me just kind of clean some of this up. These are actually little rubber gaskets that are in there. But I'm going to trim a couple of these pieces off here that are just kind of dangling. Yeah, like this one. Actually, this one. Yeah. Okay. So now that we got that out of the way, let's just take a peek. Man, it's so much easier putting these engines in the back, right? Let's just get all this stuff out of the way. What is this? Oh yeah, that we can't really pull the plate off because of how this is made. Unless we lop off all that. Okay. Wow, that's awesome. Anyway, so let's pull this engine back forward. Because eventually what I have to do is I have to set this frame down on the ground, meaning off the go jacks. So, I know the go jacks are supposed to make it easier, but sometimes they have a mind of their own. Okay, we'll start there. I already know it's got to go this way. Okay, here we go again. This is the hardest part, guys. Okay, guys. I think I got her where I want her. We are even or centered right there. I took off the exhaust manifolds just to lower it down farther into the bay, but I don't think I can go much lower than that at all, because I still have like accessories, right? Like either the alternator is going to be on this side or this side, or the AC is going to be on that side, so that's my biggest thing. I can't push it any farther, or else the wheels will be out of center. And I know that the intake is a little taller, and then with the carb, we're probably right about there. And actually, I'm okay with that height here, as far as that goes. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the exhaust manifold back in. We have to go that way a little. Yeah. So I'm kind of basing off this right here. This is off just a little, but when you bring it down, it should be about right. I think I'm going to have to get a plumb bob just to make sure that we're even there. So I think I'm going to commit to the front with my braces that come down, because I have plenty of room right here for the radiator, like plenty of room. Now that the motor's pushed back another 3 inches back, I have plenty of room here. The steering I'll figure out later, because that's what I do. But yep, that's where I think it is. So now what we're going to do, this is the height. As soon as I put in the exhaust manifolds, we are going to check that. If I need to come up another inch, I can. Actually, the total amount that I can come up and probably lower the whole vehicle down is about 2 more inches up, right? But if I don't have to, if I only run 2-inch drop spindles, I don't have to put in 1-inch lowering springs, right? So the whole front will be 3 inches down, and the rear will probably be like a 4-inch block to kind of leave it level. But I'm still putting running boards on this, which will be probably like 1.5 inch thickness on the whole bottom, that is going to add to the cab itself, just enough to hide the frame. Yeah. So this is the thought process. So let me pop these exhaust manifolds back in, and then we'll see how much more or less I have to raise it up. But I do have it off all the go jacks, so now it is sitting on the ground. And yeah, so we'll be right back after I get these manifolds in. Okay guys, so I got the exhaust manifolds back on. I have about 1.5 inch clearance on both the exhaust manifolds. So what we're going to do is I'm going to kind of commit on the front here and make mounts that run in the front, right here and right here. So I did pick up an Evolution. This one's just a 7.5 blade to make cuts. It's cold cut saw, so I don't have sparks flying all over the place. So I'm just squared up the end here. So now I'm going to measure my 28 and slice through it. All right, guys, so I just kind of roughly cut out a piece of angle that I had. So the whole problem with me doing 28 inches up is that I don't have enough lift to get the cab up off the frame. So I just double checked some measurements of a radiator that I'm looking at getting, and it's about that tall, so about 28 inches. You know, what I really do is I lose my tape measure. Okay, so it's 28 inches tall. So from there to the top of the tape measure. right? Roughly. And it's like 19 wide. So I can actually drop it, the radiator, lower if I need to, and 6 inches deep, which isn't that bad. So I'm going 20 inches up instead of 28 inches up. So I'm going to put temp here, a piece over here, and then I'm going to put it across. There is nothing that goes right here. Well, a coolant hose will come, because I'm getting a center radiator right here, like that. So that'll come up, but it won't be in the way of anything that I got going on. So this is right there. It's just gently bolted in. It's not holding anything strong. So let me get on the other side, cut a piece over here, 20 inches, and then we'll see how that goes. Okie dokie. So I've got my one here that's coming down to there. I clean that up. I am actually going to weld this to the frame here. And then the same over here. See, I had the clearance right there for the pipe, or for the gearbox right there. And then it bolts right here. And then I had to, this is the little brace that runs from the firewall, which is actually welded here and here and over there. And it's, they got it welded down in there, and that's the fender. So I am going to tighten these up, and then I'm going to weld them down here. So yeah, so I got to clean all that up, but I'm going to weld these in. So hear me out. So this isn't going to be just for the front, right? This is just going to kind of hold the front stable. Oops. So through here, right at the bottom of this brace, there's going to be one that runs here and ties into here. And then there's going to be one that ties into this over here. So it'll be like, right, like a pedestal right there to right over there. And the cab is actually going to be sitting on that, right? These are just going to be up here just to hold the front up, and they're probably going to double as radiator brackets that'll come out and then hold the radiator right there. Right? Makes sense, right? Try to get stuff to do double duty. And then from here to here, possibly maybe another plate. Or not. Probably not then, now that I'm thinking this through. So let me tighten up this bolt, and then I'm going to weld this in there and there. And this will have probably on this side, oops, sorry. So on this side will be like a gusset that comes down and ties in right there. Because you can't mess around with the cab getting all kind of kitty wampus. So now it's the front end is stable to the frame. So we committed. Like I said, well, you didn't hear me probably, but like I said, once I get the cab back off, I'll full weld it all the way in the back, just because. Why not? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop another hole here and here, so it'll have the access, you know. So it shouldn't go like that, but it just makes me feel better. All right, guys, so right where those two cutouts are, there and there, there's actually a bar that runs underneath that whole back cab, and it's reinforced like a mount in the back. And they've already got two holes like drilled through for mounts. So I'm thinking those were like auxiliary mounts, but I got a piece of 1/8 inch, is it 1/8 inch? Yeah, 1/8 inch square tubing. I notched it out and then I put the bolt through there just to see how it would be with the clearance wise. And I think that's gonna work. So I did try to do the rubber bushings right there, but it just seemed, I don't know, it just seemed weird. So I just solid mounted those to the cab. And now I'm gonna figure out the other part for mounting it to the frame. But that'll be tomorrow. So we'll catch you in the AM. All right, guys, it's Sunday morning. It's like 40 degrees out. But what I did is I just kind of welded little standards on both sides. So we got the standards on both sides welded in to the frame. Now, obviously, those are just going to be like auxiliary mounts for the back. So now I have to get the motor out so I can get some room in there to actually build the cradle to come up and down to be able to set the cab down more solidly, so to speak. But that's good for what I need to do to build the rest of the standards off. And they're not going to fall apart on me, obviously. So I'm thinking what we can do is, sorry, it's like 40 degrees out here this morning. It's kind of cold. So I think the motor can come out the front. I will have to remove the exhaust manifolds to try to slide it out this way. And I think I have enough room in the front there to do that. So a lot less talking and just trying to get this done today, so I can get the motor out and start doing some real work on that for the standards. So let's try to get this done. So I just decided to unbolt it. I got to take this thing on and off anyway, so yeah, let's see if this will work, right? Oh boy. Okay, maybe it won't work. That's it. So, I think we're gonna have to let some air out of the tires. That's what I think. Yep. Well, I guess that's one way to do it. Take the tires off and just roll it back. Okay, so let me get my truck out of the way. I'm going to push it back more, get that motor out, and then put it back up underneath there. Okay, we'll be back. So now I'm going to put this on my little stand, roll it over there for now, and then try to get the frame back up underneath. We'll be right back. And in typical Florida style, it's now 60. So we got the motor sitting over there. We've got the frame ready to go back underneath. I'm gonna have to pull the front tires off, use the jack, pull it up underneath to get those standards up underneath. Now, once I make the cradle, obviously those will be chopped down. But for right now, that's what's holding my front where I needed it to be. So I'm going to drop it, pull the tires off, run it underneath, and then set the cab back down. So let me get that done real quick. This video is really long because there's a lot of like running around and stuff, but you know, like trying to set it, square it. But now that we got it all set up, we should be good to go. So we'll be right back. All right, guys, we are back attached. So let me finish dropping the weight down and hopefully pull all that out so we can raise the whole thing up at once. We are back on the cab. Now with test fitting the engine, knowing where I got to go up here. So let's get all the wood out of here. Hopefully, let's put it up in the air. So let me get all this wood out and then we'll go from there. All right, guys. So I got the jack all, or the lift underneath there. Let's lift her up for the first time as one unit. And there she is. Look at that. She looks good up there. Hopefully we don't keep her up there too long. All right, so let me bring you in here and show you what we got going on. All righty, guys. So right here, there's a bracket that I'm bolted into right now. That was the bracket I was talking about. There and over there. Now that's just basically there to get the back at where I'm at, and then the front. So I know that if I stay on the inside of this, I won't interfere with the engine at all. But as you can see, I got to take all that off. I got some stuff going on over there. Like I said previously, Bluetooth floor and over there. But my goal is to get everything on this structure right here. Yep. So it's not that bad. Once the initial setup is done, it's not that bad. Alrighty, guys, so that's gonna wrap it up. The video is kind of long. I'm trying to keep these somewhat short, but with this one, it was really getting the engine and the cab mocked up together, as you can see, in order to set the cab back down so I can finish up the cradle. But the grill still fits perfect up there, so I didn't wample this way at all. The doors shut like they did before. The latches are actually frozen up, so they only go so far and they won't actually latch because they're frozen up. So I'm going to take a little bit more time today, do some more cleanup, maybe get this engine and transmission separated and put on the stand, because that's got to be all sealed up, you know, all the gaskets and stuff like that. But honestly, I think it's a great weekend, a great couple days here. So again, thanks for coming in here and taking a peek and watching me mount the cab in its permanent location with the engine all mocked up in there. And then our little trials and tribulations along the way on that one. And, you know, had to take tires off, jack, just drop the front to get it out, put it back in, but it's all now all on its own. So again, thanks for tuning in. I really appreciate all the new subscribers that keep coming in here, and all the returning ones for sure, to see what I get up to on this. And hey, go build something cool, one weekend at a time. Catch you on the next one. Bye.